DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents.
Here we go again. Here we go again with another case of the cover-up being worse than the actual crime. Now, obviously, I am not talking about the crimes of Jeff Epstein. I'm talking about the ongoing disaster, the flaming ass fire that has become of the Trump administration. I have received a lot of comments, a lot of emails from you guys this week asking me if I was going to talk about this. There's a reason that I've stayed away from this story, at least until now. Number one, Uncle Casey doesn't like talking about things that he knows nothing about. And until I spent the last few days researching this story, I really didn't know much about the Epstein case. And number two, I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert when I'm not. I'm not going to chase views by covering a breaking story when I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I do know a cover-up when I see one. In this case, it might be an unintentional cover-up, but as is often the case, intent does not matter. The only thing that matters is Pam Bondi has started a civil war within the Trump administration. And if the Trumper doesn't get this resolved and quickly, Dan Bongino is going to get the hell out of there. 10 years ago, I was out on a Thursday night partying with my friends. I ended up blacking out. I regained consciousness around 2 or 3 in the morning. My first memory of July 31st, 2015 was sitting next to a breathalyzer machine in the police station with a cop asking me to perform fellatio on the breathalyzer tube. Luckily, I was cognizant enough to decline that test. I mean, I support the police, but I'm not going to help them convict me. I'm not going to hand them evidence. I'm not going to commit a crime and then go tell on myself. I had to call into work that day, not because I was too hungover to go to work. I had to call in because I didn't have a car. Apparently, I had driven my 4Runner directly into a light pole. It was damn near totaled. I go to work the following Monday and I'm contemplating whether or not I should tell my boss. My natural instinct was to keep my mouth shut. It's none of his business what I do in my personal life. The problem was I had a company vehicle, so technically it was his business. Long story short, I decided not to tell my boss about it. He lived 3 hours away. I only saw him a couple of times a year, and I knew my DUI would get thrown out once I went to court. I figured he wasn't going to find out about it. 3 months later, I get a phone call from my boss, and he's pissed off. One of the guys in my office snitched on me. They told corporate about my DUI. Believe it or not, my boss wasn't all that upset about the DUI. Obviously, he didn't like it, but we could have gotten past the DUI. The reason he was so upset is because I refused to tell him about it. If I told him about the DUI, he would have been pissed off initially, but eventually he would have gotten over it. But since I didn't tell him, the bond of professional trust was broken and he never fully trusted me again. And I don't blame him. But there was another trust that was broken that day. The trust that we had between the men in the office. My boss never revealed who told on me, but I knew. And for the next 6 years, The tension in the office, it never went away. Once trust is broken, it is damn near impossible to get it back. Unfortunately for Pam Bondi, she has the opposite problem. My problem was exercising my right to remain silent. With Pampers, she has spent the last few months running that yapper, telling everyone that she's got the goods on Jeff Epstein. It's gonna be a big reveal. The big reveal ended up being a wet fart. And now, the Trumper has to decide where his loyalty lies. Do I hang on to Pampers, or do I let Dan Bongino and Kash Patel quit? Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel's in the description below. I keep seeing comments asking where the link to the second channel is. If you look under the title of this video, there's a button that says more. Click that button. The video description will show. Today on the second channel, gonna try to get 2 videos out. One's gonna be on crying Ryan Clark continuing to embarrass ESPN. The other video is gonna be about LeBron James potentially being pushed out of Los Angeles. Bron and the Lakers are headed towards a nasty divorce. I'll give you all the details, so click the link in the description below. Subscribe to the second channel. Headline at CNN. Dan Bongino considering resigning over Epstein files fallout. I know what some of you guys are thinking. You can't trust the polished turds at CNN? Yeah, no shit. I thought the same thing. I damn sure thought that once I saw the article was written by Caitlin Collins. Katie Woo! Katie Woo! But this story was also reported by Axios and Mediaite, so I think there is validity to it. According to reports, there has been ongoing conflict at the White House this week. Danny B is pissed off with Pampers over the release of the Epstein files. Pamela is mad because she believes the FBI leaked a story to News Nation, home of Chris Cuomo. Hey, it's me, Chrissy C. Pam believes the FBI leaked a story to News Nation where they portrayed the Department of Justice negatively. The FBI wanted the files to be released, but they claimed their requests were being blocked by the Department of Justice. Yesterday, Dan Bongino decided that he was just going to take the day off. Everyone else was at work yesterday morning. The fire extinguishers were being handed out so everyone could combat the flaming ass fire. Dan Bongino decided not to show up. Maybe he no longer wants to be a team player. Or maybe he's tired of having his reputation destroyed over the mistakes of Pam Bondi. As you saw in the beginning of this video, Pam Bondi has spent the last few months bragging about the Epstein files. Every time I turn on Fox News, I am blinded by the blonde hair and the radiant smile of Pampers. Oh, you guys aren't gonna believe this. I've got the goods. You're gonna love me. Pam Bondi's gonna be a superstar. For months, Pam Bondi has been telling us that she's got the goods. She is going to release the supposed client list. And when it comes time to deliver the gift, we open the box and find a steaming turd. To me, one of 2 things are true here. Number 1, Pam Bondi was talking all this shit before she actually went through the files, or maybe she was given bad information from her team. Or 2, there is a cover-up. Either way, it is a bad look for Pam Bondi, and it's damn sure bad optics for the Trumper. The question is why? Why would Pam Bondi do this? Why would she go on national television and talk shit when she hasn't looked through the files herself? Or when she's not going to release them? Maybe, just maybe, Pam Bondi wants to be a cable news star more than she wants to be the attorney general. Watch for yourself.
The only explanation that I can think of, and this is an explanation that is based on a pattern of Pam Bondi's behavior, is that she wasn't telling the truth. Not necessarily because she's corrupt and trying to hide the contents of the Epstein files, but because she's click thirsty, because she was more interested in making these big promises on Fox News, being a Fox News star and a mega champion. And she got out over her skis, promising things that she hadn't verified.
I am speculating here, but from everything I have read, if Pam Bondi does not resign, or if the Trumper doesn't go back to his apprentice days and tell her that she's fired, both Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are going to quit. And who could blame them? When Dan Bongino had his show, he talked about the Epstein case incessantly. He gets into the White House and he's working with someone he thinks he can trust. He's going off the word of someone in his own administration. He's basing some of his opinions on what she is telling him. And now he looks like an asshole. And look, Dan Bongino is not innocent here. He's the one who found the prison tape of Jeff Epstein's cell. He didn't notice that the camera resets every night at midnight. Well, KC, that's bullshit. It's 2025. There's no way the camera skips a full minute. This is a cover-up. This is one part that I actually believe. Obviously, Dan Bongino should have caught the skip, but I do believe that the cameras are antiquated. Reason I say that, I have watched a lot of shows about prison, 60 Days In, Locked Up. I have seen documentaries on prisons. Most of these prisons have one thing in common, besides the fact that they're filled with criminals. Most of these prisons, they are operating on technology from the 90s and early 2000s. So I do believe the camera resets at midnight. But even with that being the case, Dan Bongino should have caught it. At the end of the day, though, this is not about Dan Bongino. It's not about Pam Bondi. This is about the Trumper. Me personally, I don't really care about the Epstein files. There are so many other problems to focus on. Matter of fact, if this were happening with our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, I would think all of this is a diversion. I would think the administration is doing this to divert our attention away from what they are really trying to do. Now, the Trumper, he could be doing the same thing. He could be distracting the mainstream media. Just something to think about. But either way, the Trumper is going to take the blame. I think one of the reasons that people are upset is because of the lack of transparency. People feel like their trust has been broken. They are doubting the authenticity of Donald Trump. That is a big problem. Politically, I don't agree with the Young Turks, but I don't criticize them like I do the rest of the mainstream media because I don't doubt their authenticity. I don't agree with them, but at least I don't have to question whether they believe what they are saying. That is the biggest problem right now for the Trumper. People feel like their trust has been broken. They are questioning the lack of transparency. Now, he's got to make a decision. Do I fire Pam Bondi, or do I risk Dan Bongino and Kash Patel leaving the administration? What should he do? Has this situation with Epstein caused you to lose faith in Donald Trump? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.